Like, seriously, this dude just, like, takes out the one zombie with the 2 knives, you know, both in one. Cole is a character that we've never seen before until this episode, and the dude is so cool. I love this guy, and of course he wanted to know if the bad man got what he deserved, which, you know, you guys know I'm a Negan fan, so even little lines like that kind of pisses me off. Reaper that decides to blow himself up, but with the son of the father that he killed, that he murdered.
Dog.
Dog. That's it, just dog.
You got something better?
Nah. At least you won't forget what he is.
See, at least he knows it's stupid. Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of TWD Reviews, and today I'm back for another Walking Dead video for today. This one's going to be talking about the latest episode of The Walking Dead Season 10C. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead. This one's going to be talking about The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 18, Find Me. Okay guys, so it's going to be doing another video for today. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today. This one's going to be doing my video review for the second episode of The Walking Dead Season 10C. Now, this one's going to be for Season 10, Episode 18, Find Me. So, man, guys, this was a really darn good episode. So, this episode is, in my opinion, there's almost nothing wrong with it, to be honest. There's only a couple things maybe here and there where maybe I'll have like small nitpicks. But honestly, this was an amazing episode. And if you ask me personally, these 2 episodes of Season 10C have been an amazing start so far. So, okay, so Episode 18, Find Me. So, after Episode 17, we got like a very, you know, standalone Maggie episode, it felt like last week. This one, we get to go back in time a lot, and we get to see what Daryl was up to. And I love this, too, because we get to fill in the gaps of what happened from when Rick disappeared to Season 9, Episode, I guess, 7, Stradivarius, when we actually saw Daryl fully. You know, in that time, what happened, you know, with his character? You're not telling me, like, he was just out there for 6 years and nothing happened with him. And, you know, that was one thing I always wondered, too. I'm like, okay, there's no way Daryl was just out there for 6 years and nothing, you know, actually went on with his character. And we get to see exactly that in this episode. We got to see a lot of great backstory and a lot of great stuff. So we'll start from the beginning, and then we'll kind of get into some of the flashback stuff. So we start off with Daryl and Carol, of course. They are, of course, riding off. You got Carol. It's like, yeah, Jerry's taking charge a lot. I like that. And we get to see, I really like the opening scene, you know, because you got Dog in the front, they're riding off and stuff, and I like the banter between them back and forth. I think Daryl and Carol were really good there in that opening scene. We get the intro, of course, and then we move over to them. They're, like, fishing, and you get all this kind of stuff, and they're talking about, you know, whether or not maybe Alexandria is, like, kind of already lost, you know, like, they don't really know. And, you know, like Carol's like, yeah, just tell me, like, I'm not doing this right, you know, about the fish and stuff. And then you've got Dog that runs off. So this is when the episode gets really interesting, because he runs off, of course, and he goes to this cabin, which then, of course, trigger the memories for Daryl as they run into this cabin, of course, and you see, you know, kind of them find it. It's the one, obviously, that we see in the flashbacks. So then we get to see, kind of throughout the episode, some flashbacks of when Daryl met Leah. When, you know, he kind of, you know, we see him out there. He's, you know, obviously he's looking for Rick. He is definitely, you know, struggling a lot. You know, you can see a lot of, you know, parts with him out in the rain and stuff like that. He's kind of like got this map and stuff. And it's just like this, it's just, you feel really bad for Daryl, you know, because it's like he never got a chance to actually find Rick this entire time. But all of those scenes with Daryl on his own, the part where he screams when you've got like the wind and stuff that takes like that messes up the map or whatever, I just, man, honestly, it was really sad to see that whole thing kind of play through. And I love the way they did it to where you feel the frustration, you know? Like, you've got a moment in this episode where Daryl, like, he literally finds, you know, like a dead body that he thinks could be potentially Rick. And then as he approaches it, he kind of has to look at it for a second. He's like, oh, okay, no, that's not Rick. So, his looking for Rick was definitely very interesting. And then, of course, we do see Daryl find Dog, of course, and we get to see his first interaction with Dog and stuff like that. Now, like I said, we get to meet the Leah character, of course, and she basically points a shotgun towards him. we get to see everything that goes down there. He's like, yeah, like, I'm leaving. And she's like, no, you're not. Actually kind of blocks the door. And then, of course, it's kind of like this, like, moment of like, okay, who the heck is this, right? So, of course, played by Lynn Collins. And I think, and I definitely want to add, I think she did a great job in this episode, to be honest. I think the way she just kind of went in there, she really tough female character. And honestly, I really am wondering if we're going to see her again. But we'll discuss that in a minute. So, then, of course, we got her. She kind of ties Daryl up, I guess, just to be, you know, careful, I guess. And you've got Daryl that says, you know, I'm Daryl, and she won't reveal her name right away, you know. And, you know, he kind of tells her his story. She kind of says hers. But we get a lot of time jumps throughout this whole thing, because she lets him go at first and lets him go kind of freely and let him go do whatever he wants. And then we see a couple time skips. We see like I remember at the beginning of the episode, it's like 5 years, you know, earlier. So like about a year or so before, like a year or so after Rick, you know, went. And then we see like a couple time skips of, you know, once Leah lets Daryl go, we got like 6-month time skip, 8-month time skip. Some stuff like this that is kind of just kind of inserted in the episode and stuff like that. But I really do like it, because we get to see that it wasn't just a like right away, like you just see them in a relationship, which is kind of what I was worried this is going to be, is that we were just going to see them like meet each other and like the same night or something they'll be in a relationship, you know, like that would just be really crazy. So no, they luckily don't do that. You actually do have some time that passes by to add a little bit of more like realism to it. And you've got Daryl that kind of he has choices to make, you know, in this episode. And it's really interesting because we find out, of course, as Daryl kind of brings, you know, Dog back to, Leah, which I love this scene, because he kind of comes back to her and he's just like, hey, what's the name? She's like, yeah, his name's Dog or whatever. And Daryl's like, that's it? Just Dog? And I love that, because we've all been questioning from Daryl, you know, it's like, yeah, that's it? Dog? Like, and the whole time it wasn't even Daryl that made the darn name, which it sounded like something Daryl would do, to just name a dog Dog. But even Daryl finds the idea stupid. So I just find that kind of, I find that really funny. And he's like, well, I guess you'll never forget who he is, you know? Because it's like, you know, you name him Dog, you're not going to forget what he is. So, I love that. That was probably my favorite, like, comedy part of the episode. I absolutely love that part. But, basically, you've got Daryl out there. He's still looking for Rick. You've got a few scenes of Leah. She kind of runs into him for a little while. And we do get this major time skip of like 10 months where we can kind of see they actually do hook up, and we actually do get to see Daryl in a relationship for the first time with someone. So, what are my thoughts on this? I mean, honestly, it's good. I mean, 10 years later, but still good. And honestly, I think that, Daryl in a relationship, I feel like it's well overdue, to be honest. There's a lot of people have been waiting to see Daryl in a relationship with, I can't even remember the amount of people in the show. Like, once people said Beth, some people said Carol, which that's always been the big one. And then Connie recently and stuff like this. And now that I see this episode, I can honestly say I understand a little bit more on why Daryl hesitated to be with Connie, and why, you know, Daryl kind of said back in season 10, episode 6, if you guys remember, when Carol's like, is Connie fine too? And he's just like, it's not like that, Carol. And Carol's like, why not, you know? And I just, I don't know, I like that, because now we get why he never wanted to really be with Connie, is because he's kind of been wanting her to find him, you know? And basically, let's talk about it. So she tells him, you got a choice to make, Daryl. Are you going to keep looking for your brother? Which that I found really interesting. He calls him, like, calls Rick his brother and stuff. Are you going to keep looking for your brother, or the people that are back home, like Carol, like Michonne, like the others and stuff like that? Obviously, they're checking on him a lot and stuff like that. Are you going to go back to them, make things right with them? Or are you going to choose me? And it's kind of like this moment of Daryl's just like, I don't know, and she basically says, she kind of storms out and stuff like that. But I really found that scene interesting, because it's like, man, 10 months later, and then Leah's just bringing this up now. But still, it makes sense, because Daryl still is not going to stop looking for Rick, and he doesn't, And I just, I find that very interesting. And basically, let's talk about kind of how everything ends up. We do see that Leah does leave. So the character is not killed off, which is, I'm personally very happy about. The story is open-ended there, and the Leah character is still out there now, which this is the part I'm going to have to get into about, which I'm going to have to do a separate video on, because I don't want to go into it too much in this review. But will they give Daryl and Leah the Michonne storyline in the Commonwealth, kind of remixed, in the TV show? Obviously, it's not like, Michonne in the TV show finding, her daughter and stuff like that. They're not going to do that, because one, Michonne's gone, and, she had a, I believe, it was Andre, so she had a son, not a daughter. But Michonne's not even there. They can't do anything like that. So instead, I have a feeling what they're going to do with this Leah character. And again, it could be far-fetched, absolutely. But right now, I can kind of see it to being where in Season 11, when Daryl and the others actually show up to the Commonwealth, she is somebody that Daryl finds out is actually there at the Commonwealth, and this is where she ended up. And I don't know, I think that would be really interesting if they went that road, because then we could kind of adapt that storyline from the comics. But in this case, it's a love interest instead, which, you know, I think is interesting. So, yeah, very, very, really interesting storyline with the Leah character. I'm glad they kept her character kind of out there in the world and stuff like that. And in terms of kind of her story in this episode, I think Lynn Collins did a great job, honestly. And I think that, you know, she made Daryl choose, and then when Daryl, you know, went back, it's too late, you know, and he said, I forget what he said, but he did say, like, he's like, I think he said, like, I choose you or whatever, and then he's like, find me, you know, and he kind of leaves that, which, then, of course, we kind of get a little bit more about that in the current timeline with, you know, Carol and stuff like that, which we'll discuss in a minute, but, I will just say for that whole thing, the entire flashback, I loved it. I thought it was great. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Daryl is in a relationship. This is weird. I don't like this and that. I'm good with it, to be honest. I actually like the Leah character. I think she actually is a good character. We did get a bit of a backstory that she did have a kid that got bit, I believe. I forget the kid's name, but it's something like that. And yeah, the woman's been through a lot for sure. And, you know, now she has a dog named Dog. And then, of course, by the end of the episode, Daryl goes with Dog on a separate journey. And we you know, you see, of course, after he leaves the note, Dog, you know, leaves with Daryl, and then, of course, that syncs up too, which is what I absolutely love, syncs up to Season 9, Episode 7. So, I say episode 7 because he was barely in episode 6. But, yeah, so that's really cool. So I really like the way they did that. I thought that was all really, really good. Now, let's discuss the ending of the episode, which is definitely one of the parts that I want to discuss, which is the argument between Daryl and Carol. So, in my non-spoiler review, I remember I said, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably now know what I mean, you know, it's going to cause definitely some, I'm interested in seeing, like, the division in the fan base, because I feel like there are some people that are actually going to agree with Carol, and then there are people like myself that does agree with Daryl, that does, you know, hold Carol responsible for what happened to Connie. I don't really know how anybody could sit there and deny that, you know, it's Carol's fault what happened to Connie. I don't understand how anybody can actually deny that. And there are some people that deny that too, but, I don't know. I can't see it, honestly. She's the one that made that happen. And even Carol kind of admits it in this kind of conversation. But basically, in the end, Daryl tells her that he is, you know, he's not going to stop her. If she wants to leave, if she wants to go, he's not going to stop her this time. And that's crazy. Now, Carol tries to kind of almost defend herself in this moment. She's like, well, I'm not going to apologize because Alpha needed to die and I did the right thing. And I'm like, what? Like, honestly, no, you did not do the right thing. You literally put everybody in danger, and you're why the characters were in the cave to begin with. So, I don't know. That was really frustrating when Carol said that. And I was completely on Daryl's side. I'm like, no, like, I don't understand that perspective at all. And that whole conversation, where she talks about Rick, Connie, and Leah, of course, those are the three people Daryl are looking for currently right now. You know, how, you know, Daryl, you gotta stop, you know, you're looking for people that were gone, like, all this stuff. Carol, in my opinion, in that scene, she drove me nuts, because honestly, so many of those points, I'm just like, okay, I get what Carol means, but the way she's saying it, is that really necessary? Like, I don't know. That argument, I was completely on Daryl's side. I love the scene, though. The scene itself was great. Carol, very annoying character at the end of the episode, I would have to say. At least in my personal opinion. And that is basically the end. They're at the cabin, and you basically got that as the, you know, the kind of the ending of the episode. So, in terms of an episode, I mean, I freaking loved it. I absolutely love this episode. Literally almost every second of this episode, I just absolutely love. There's so much in it that I really enjoyed. The Daryl storyline, specifically from picking up a year after Rick, you know, left, seeing that journey, you know, Dog, seeing the young Dog, which I thought was really cool. Running into Leah, the relationship starting there over time, over a good many months, you know, and then ultimately Leah giving Daryl a decision, Daryl deciding to kind of head out. But Annette, then ultimately picking, Leah, but then it's obviously too late, and now the mystery is, where is Leah? Is she still out there? And of course, Daryl still has Dog now in the current timeline, but will we ever see the Leah character again? My prediction is yes. So, and I think they're going to do the Commonwealth idea. I definitely think they're going to do that, and I might expand on that topic a bit more in another video where it's not a review, and I can actually go into that topic a little bit more, because I do think that Leah will appear in season 11 during the Commonwealth arc. I think that's what they're going to be doing. So, which I'm excited. I think that's really, really cool, and I'm glad that most likely, at least, Lynn Collins, the actress, will be back for season 11. I think, at least most likely, So, anyway, that is really cool stuff, guys. That is basically all I got to say about this week's episode of The Walking Dead. I really loved it, and out of 10 for this episode, this is going to be another 9 out of 10, so 2 episodes so far of season 10C, both are getting 9 out of 10s, with this one being narrowly higher than Home Sweet Home. I do like this episode a little bit more than Home Sweet Home for a Daryl episode, and, season 10 really suffers a lot with kind of bottled off, character-focused episodes like We Are the End of the World, Michonne's last episode, episodes like this, this might be my favorite standalone episode of season 10, because it's just so, it's so cool how they do Daryl's story all the way through. I thought the acting was great. I thought the story was great. Daryl and Carol, they're banter back and forth. First it's positive, then it's negative, and then it's just this crazy kind of back and forth between the two. I absolutely loved every second of it. So, anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Write your comments in the comment section below. If you guys are new here, click the subscribe button to send my Walking Dead videos. Follow me as Walking Dead Reviews, subscribe, guys, and of course, I'll see you guys really soon for another Walking Dead video. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Anybody out there?